Hey everybody, this is Christy Wright Wild with Writers Who Run. It has been a while since I've showed up live for you guys. But okay, so I'm holding this ball. It belongs to my dog. But anyway, I knew he was gonna come up here in my lap. I just knew it. All right, today we're talking about beta readers, and I wanted to share with you. All right, go get your ball. He doesn't. He's smart but dumb at the same time. That's Prince. I got the other dog. He's lazing around in the lazy boy chair in the other room. All right, yeah. So as you make your way in, just share with me like that you're here so I can say hi to you. Hi. If you, depending on where you're typing hello from, I may not be able to see it in, this is what's called StreamYard that I'm using. Anyway, let's talk about beta readers. So the question is, how do you know when to send your manuscript to a beta reader? And I say go with your gut, but some writers will edit or revise their manuscript just a little bit. I suppose I could take my music off. It's a little distracting. They might edit or revise their manuscript a little bit beforehand. Maybe a surface level editing just to kind of fix spelling or grammar. Some people might revise it a couple of times, but it's totally not required. It's totally up to you. Go with your gut on that one. But the number one question to really ask is, are you ready for feedback? How badly do you want some feedback, whether it's a little earlier in the stage or a little bit later, right? So once you feel like, okay, I'm ready to get some beta readers, then what do you ask them to do? There are 4 things, mostly. For one, you're going to start off and say, do not edit any spelling or any grammar. I'm not interested in that. I can fix that later. I want bigger stuff. So tell them, ignore all spelling, all grammar. So that's kind of the first precursor. The next thing is confusion, okay? Or rather the first main thing. Any place where they're reading and they start to get confused, tell them to mark that down. And I guess before I do the 4 things, you can do it digitally or physically. So if you print it out and mail it to them, or if they're locally near you, you can give them a written copy, or you can do digital. Either way, whatever you and your beta reader decide and what they want. So digital or physical is perfectly fine, just whatever you guys agree upon to do. Most people, I believe, tend to do it digital because it saves a lot of paper, ink, time, printing it and stuff. And so they can just, like in a Google Doc or whatever you choose, you can get the information digitally, and it's oftentimes faster as well. Okay, so the 4 things, I'm going to label what they are, and then I'll go into each one a little bit. What you want to ask your beta reader to do is note points of confusion where they might have any questions, if they get bored, and parts where it's believable. Okay, so the 4 parts. Confusion. If your reader is confused, they will stop reading. Like say I'm not talking about just your beta reader, because your beta readers are people that you either know, they love you, or they're already in your world somehow. Maybe they're a friend, maybe even a family member. They're not writers, they're readers. It's a beta reader, and you want the reader's feedback on where they get confused. So if you have a published book and it's someone who never heard of you before, if they get confused, they may not finish that chapter. They may put the book down and never come back to it. Okay, the next one, number 2, is questions. So confusion oftentimes brings forth questions, right? Or sometimes you're just curious and you want to know more. So it could be good or bad. Not really good or bad, but you know what I mean, a positive or negative. So a question out of confusion might be seen as like a negative thing, but you still want to know what those questions are. And if it's they're curious and they're interested and they want to keep going, they might be asking questions like, oh, I wonder what happens next, that kind of a question. So that would be kind of like a positive question. But if they have any questions at all about your manuscript and they come up for them as they're reading, you want to know what those are so you can address them as the writer. The third thing is boredom. If they're in your story and they're reading it and there's a point where they just get a little bored or they find their mind wandering, you need to know that as the writer so you can fix it so it doesn't happen for future readers once it's published. And the fourth thing is believability. If you're writing, I don't care if it is, modern day romance, contemporary type stuff, or even if it's science fiction or fantasy, there still has to be that level of believability. And if your reader can't believe that it's happening in the world that you have created for your character, then you need to know that, because you need to, again, as the writer, address that for the believability and be able to fix it and massage it and change it up so that it is then believable and the reader can fully be immersed into your story and just have a wonderful reading experience. And the last thing as a bonus that I wanted to just kind of mention is, if you have any concerns about your reader just kind of stealing your work or sharing it or talking about it with other people, you can just respectfully ask them to keep everything they're reading confidential because it's not ready to be published and it's just for their eyes. It's just for them. It's kind of like bonus for them to be the beta reader, to like read your stuff before it's published, but just simply out of respect to not share it with others if you're concerned about anything with confidentiality. So those are my tips for today. Again, don't ask for spelling and grammar. You can do that later. That's when you get an editor. Confusion, questions, boredom, and believability. Those are the four things you want your beta reader to comment on. And you can ask for those beta readers whenever you're ready for that feedback, whether it be early in the stages, you just finished off the first draft and you don't care if there's mistakes because you just want their feedback quickly so you can make the best revisions possible moving forward. And, or if you go through 2 or 3 revisions, whatever you feel is best for you. And then, so go forth, continue to write, and I will see you guys next week. I'm going to try to be on here every Tuesday. That's my goal. Every Tuesday. I don't have a set time yet, but the day of the week should be Tuesday. All right. So I will see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.